Good afternoon, MLB Pro family. My name's Scott Gessford. I'm the GM of the Sacramento Athletics. I almost said Oakland. And I'm joined with Rob Chappy Chapman from Kansas City, and I'm going to let you do some introduction for yourself. And
Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. And this is the premiere. Good to see you. Good to hear you. You're good to be heard. But this is the premiere of the Kansas City Athletics show, which is a name we chose to honor the defunct Kansas City A's, since Scott's the A's owner and I'm the Kansas City, I guess not owner, but managers, general managers. But yeah, the Philadelphia Athletics were founded in 1901, and in 1955 they moved to Kansas City. Just 11 years later, they moved on to Oakland, and um, there was about a 1 or 2 season gap before the Kansas City Royals were added as an expansion team, along with the Seattle Pilots, I believe, who are now the Milwaukee Brewers, not the Seattle Mariners. But there's your little history lesson for the day. I guess we can move on with the show now.
it's always good to have a history lesson, though.
Yeah, keep it educational for the kids.
That's right. Hey, so normally our format for this is going to be we're going to come on, we're going to introduce ourselves so you know who we are, and then we're going to do a standings recap. But since this is preseason, I don't think we really need to go into the standing recaps. And then we're going to talk a little bit about each one of our teams since we're GMs of different American League teams. That's where we're going to focus mostly on, right? Is the American League side of things. And then we may make some predictions for the upcoming week, but like I said, being spring training, we're going to do a prediction show the right before opening day. So we'll talk more about that at the end, and then we'll have a couple minutes for closing remarks, and we'll move on from there. So, Rob, how would you like to lead off talking about the Royals?
Sure. Well, I'll just give you a little synopsis of what my plan was going into the spring training. I've done several different things in my tenure here. I've done a rotation style where we'll have, 3 or 4 different groups, and I'll just rotate those lineups. I've done letting the manager do it and just having the game implemented sub frequencies in there. I've had it where I'm picking out guys I want to do and setting my lineup every day based on either who I think needs the time or who may be struggling and wants to get better. But this year my strategy has been to just go with whoever has the fewest at bats or plate appearances, I should say, with two exceptions. One, I really wanted to have a good backup at AAA for first base. And I've got Bradley Swagger and Cody Clemens who are going to be kind of platooning at first and DH, but I didn't really have anyone in the minor leagues I was comfortable with in the event that one of those guys got hurt. So I looked at I had a DH outfielder, Griffin Conine, who has a big bat and not a lot of defensive ability. And so one of my goals for spring training was to get him a lot of action at first base. And so he's been starting almost every game at first base, and he's gone from no rating, no potential, to currently he's 45 out of 50 in his positional rating at first base. He also plays terrible third base, which is one of the I think when I acquired him, he might have been listed as a third baseman, and he's a capable left fielder, but he's got way less speed than I like my outfielders to have. Um, so he's going to be my everyday first baseman in Omaha, and if I need him, he'll be there. But hopefully, Clemens and Swagger will stay healthy. My Rule 5 pick this year came from Cincinnati. His name's Caden Grenier, and he was rated about a 65 at second base and a 55 at shortstop, but he had no rating at third base. But the plan is to make him one of my two utility infielders. So I've been starting him at third base almost every game, and he's now rated 50 out of a potential 65. And he started at 0-0. He had never played third base before this spring. So he's made a lot of progress too. Um, so other than that, I've been going with whoever I've been setting those two guys in my lineup, and then the rest of the lineup set by who has the fewest plate appearances, which has led to some strange things. Like even though Cody Clemens has among the most at bats and plate appearances on my team, he's only started one game. He just happens to come in every single game as a reserve, taking over usually for Griffin Conine. So that's been how things have been going. We're cruising along. We had a bit of a slow start, but I think now we're almost at five. Yeah, we're 6-8, so we're approaching 500 there with this thing going. Now, the next thing to watch out for in Kansas City is we're a few days away from when I'm going to do my only round of cuts before the final cut. Right now, I'm three deep at every position, with the exception of catcher, where I'm four deep. And I'm gonna be two deep at every position come March 1st. But I'll keep a third catcher, and I'll probably keep Griffin here, so I'll have three first basemen too, because one of those guys is likely going to be the DH most days. But once I do that, I'll have two of everyone, and I'll probably just try to divide the playing time evenly from then on out. So I'm kind of shifting focus from development time into getting ready for action time.
Hey, you mentioned a guy named Bradley Swagger. There was
Yes.
this rumor, there was this rumor earlier on that you were going to go do a did you know about him every day for 300 days.
Well, the eggnog was flowing back then, so I don't know. I don't know if I, was thinking clearly. It's hard to come up with that many notes about somebody. But did you know the Bradley Swagger in 9 games of action this spring is batting 312? And while he doesn't have any home runs, he does lead the Royals with two triples.
Oh, so he must be fast.
He's got, first baseman speed. He's a little above average, which is good for, some of these first basemen out there don't go very quickly, but he's, I think, a 55 in speed. So,
So
but
is
he
he
was
going to be your first baseman, or is Clemens going to be your first baseman with Swagger DHing?
So I think the way I'm gonna do it is Clemens 1B, Swagger DH versus righties, and Swagger 1B, Clemens DHing versus lefties. I think that's how I'm gonna go.
All right, and then how do you do your pitchers here in spring training? Do you try to get them a certain number of innings, or how do you do that?
So so I've been running, the other thing that's gonna happen when I do my first round of cuts March 1st is I have been running a 9-man rotation. Um, and so three of these guys, and I already know who it is. It's going to be Greg Shapiro, who starts tonight, Gunnar Gray, who starts tomorrow, and then Jose McBride, who starts Friday. Those three guys are going to be sent to Omaha. There's not really been any debate on who my rotation will be. There's a few guys battling for bullpen spots, I'll be honest. I think by now anyone who reads my many posts in the league knows that I use a spreadsheet with a formula I've concocted as kind of my guiding light in this league. And there's a couple guys, uh, relief pitcher Hayden Wineski and who's the other guy? Oh gosh, I think it's I always get mixed up between Dieve Garcia and Matt Deemer just because the DIs just throw me off. But I think it's Dieve Garcia. Those two guys, um, Wesneski and Garcia, don't rank very high in my formula, but they always pitch really well in spring and have both been on my major league roster and pitched really well in the majors. Those two guys can beat somebody out who's struggling. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a whole lot of patience with Addison Reed these days, even though my scout think he's like the best reliever on my team. He often, even the times he pitches a scoreless inning, he'll put two guys on base just to make my blood pressure go up a little bit. Um, but I wouldn't, I'm not cutting any relievers yet. It's good to have a lot of arms on your staff. Somebody's pitching tired in the spring. But I am going to drop those three starters down. So we'll see Wisniewski or Garcia is able to crack into the spot of the higher the preferred guys by my scout. I was all prepared to come in and say that my other Rule 5 draft, Juan Aramis, who I got from as a lefty from Minnesota in the Rule 5, I was all ready to come and say how great he was doing, but then he gave up like a 3-run home run last game, so he's not not looking as great with a 6.75 ERA. But he's only pitched 6 innings, and 3 of his 4 outings have been really good. So,
He's familiar to A's fans too.
oh yes, is he a former?
He pitched in Oakland up until 2022.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because he was the guy got in the Rule 5 that's like 34 years old. Because he's kind
Yes.
of a veteran, but he's got really good major league numbers in his career. So we were desperate for left-handed guys out of the pen. So
Never hurts to take a flyer and see how they pan out. And if
yeah,
they don't, you ship them back.
yeah. So that's the A's of the A's, the Royals in a nutshell. Thus
Why
far
don't you
into
tell us
camp.
about the A's now, Rob? That leads us.
Well, the A's. I'm not sure who's on that team because I feel like there's a new trade just about every other day.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us about some of the guys you brought in and who you think are going to be the big impact makers?
Yeah, we decided to actually to go for it this year. We've been debating on whether we should wait one more year, but when certain moves happen and somebody like Lucas Giolito becomes available and you can strike a deal for him, you strike while the iron's hot and you go for it and let the chips fall where they might. So one of my things is I have 4 different lineups right now for different people, and I'll be making a round of cuts here shortly. And I'll make a second round of cuts before the final cuts, just because I have a lot of people in training camp. The guy who I'm really looking forward to right now is uh, I don't even know how you say his name properly, Alex Benelis.
I would say
Benelis?
Benelis maybe.
Close enough. I'll go with that. Who I got as really a Rule 5. Washington drafted him, and I traded for him to bring him in as a first baseman or DH. And with my trade with Tampa, I got Daniel McCormick, who's not a great bat, but he plays a great defense. And so right now he's probably in the lead to start at first base. And Benalis is probably going to maybe DH at the beginning. But I'm getting him lots of time at first base to see how he can handle the position. So I'm looking forward to what Alonso Martinez can do here in Sacramento. See if he can, you know, turn back the clock to 2023 in Colorado. I'm not expecting those kind of numbers,
Hmm.
but if he can be somewhere like in the middle, going back to like a 5 raw guy, that'll be well worth the money I spent on him. Right now, I'm trying to get Fustini healthy, so I benched him for the next 4 or 5 days to get him all the way back healthy before he hits the field again, because we don't need any spring training major injuries.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm most excited about the pitching. I had a top 5 pitching last year, and I think it was the anonymous GM pointed out that I had the worst home road split with the ERA in the majors last year,
Mm,
and I have tried to narrow that gap down by bringing in Giolito and Dan Hughes and who was the other one? Nate Pearson, who I tried to get from Cincinnati since I traded for him when I was a Cincinnati GM, and like Hunter Green, I wanted him back, and I tried and we could never work out a deal. And then when the whole trade came together with Hughes and uh, I ended up getting Pearson, Comey came back to me and asked me what he could give me to make the trade go through for Gill, and I said, "You got this guy named Pearson. You add him to the trade, and we're there." And he thought about it for a little bit and said, "Okay, I don't want to do it, but I will." So, but my whole goal right now is to try to bridge the gap and I have what I call the 3-headed monster in the bullpen with
right.
Kumar Rocker, Brian Chan, and Gunnar Graham. Graham could also start if needed, but my plan is to have those three pitch the seventh, eighth, and ninth, and try to lock down games.
And
Uh,
what's the plan for Nate Pearson? Do you see him as more of a starter or more of a reliever for you?
well, I'm going to start him off in the rotation.
Okay.
He's probably going to start off as my. I haven't quite decided. I know Giolito's going to be one, and Hughes is going to be two. Green and Pearson is probably going to be three and four, and then Schoenborn is probably going to be five.
Yeah, that's
In the
a
last in the last couple of years, I've gone with a six-man rotation, and I think this year I'm just going to go with a five.
yeah, having Hughes and Giolito added is huge, I think. I think those are strong moves. It's just can you replace Gill's production? And I think, Alonso Martinez is gonna hit a lot of home runs for you. He hit 30 in Tampa, which is not an easy place to get out of the park. Now, Sacramento, I don't know. Are your park factors up to date? Like, are they changing versus
I
what you
don't.
had in Oakland?
They're a little bit better for hitters. Not,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like a significant amount better for hitters,
So it's only going
but
to be a slightly better environment for Martinez, but still, he hit 30 last year, playing for the Rays. So I would expect he'll probably hit 30, 35 again this year.
yeah, I'm hoping he can get back up into the 275, 280 range and higher on base percentage, like in the 350 range. And I think that will solve a lot of problems. And he's got a lot of bats around him. You know, uh, right now my projected lineup is Fustini in center field, and right now I'm leaning towards C.J. Abrams at second base, and then Dalen Carlson in left field, Martinez at third base, and then the rest of it's kind of up in the air. It depends on how they perform in spring. I got Garrett Mitchell, who's going to start out in right field. Uh,
Another
Jackson
former
Profar,
Royal there.
yeah, got lots of former Royals and former Tampa Bay players. A lot of those in the last couple of years with all of our trades and stuff. But I'm really high on Jeff Monken Jr. as my catcher. He doesn't have a great bat, but he won a Gold Glove in his rookie year, and I kind of expected him to win it last year. He didn't, but that's okay. I still enjoying watching him play. Most of my I have I think it's 15 pitchers for 13 or 14 slots. So there'll be a couple bullpen battles to iron out, but
Yeah.
they'll iron themselves out. My goal is I always want to get every pitcher at least 10 innings pitched in spring training. So you'll see me throw relievers into the starting rotation just to get them, you know, three or
Three or
four
four more
innings.
innings. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's just, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't have any logic behind it. That's what I like to see. And same with my hitters. I like to see them somewhere in the, 30 at bat range or plate appearances. And then uh, I'll start making cuts later on this week, one round of cuts, and get down to three lineups probably, and then another round of cuts before the final cut. The final cut will be the final, tweaking of the 26 person roster.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm hoping to compete this year against. I don't see any chance of competing against Houston.
No.
Uh, you know, Seattle and LA. I'm hoping I can be competitive with them. I'd love it if I can go up until like 87 to 90 wins. I don't know if that's even possible or not, but that's my goal. That's my hope to get up that high and at least put some pressure on the big three in the AL West.
I tell you, it's a tough, tough, tough division. I've never seen anything like it, really.
Well, and then I probably helped you a lot with my Giolito trade to weaken Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota is definitely they definitely underperformed last year. They didn't add a lot this offseason, but they didn't really lose a lot. So if they just kind of return to what their players could do, they would definitely pose a big threat to me. And I'm not saying that they don't at this point still pose a threat, but it definitely helps me a little bit for them to lose a guy like that from the top of their rotation.
Right. So, is there any team, especially in the American League, that has surprised you during spring training?
Well, honestly, the Angels haven't really won many games. Now I know it's spring training, right? And a lot of guys are doing like I am and not playing guys that are going to be starting come opening day or playing guys out of position to try to improve position ratings for guys to add, depth for later. But yeah, anytime you see the Angels below 500, it's just a little surprising. And um I was gonna say the team. So in my first little prediction thing I put out, I kind of called the Yankees a team to watch to finally start improving, since they've been since Retzky's been over there, they've been kind of near the bottom as he's been acquiring talent. And I kind of feel like they're going to take a big jump um this year. And I picked them as one of like the first guys to not make the play, like one of the best non-playoff teams in the AL. But they had a big offseason, and I think we really need to talk real quickly about the news coming out of New York about Edgardo Arredondo, who was the singest. He had the largest contract signed this past offseason, coming from Houston to the Yankees. Signed, what was it? What was the total of that contract? It was like um,
Oh my goodness, 250 million,
yeah, it was
247 million.
247.2 million dollars. Now it's tied for the second highest in terms of annual value, but it is overall the largest contract signed this offseason. And unfortunately for the Yankees, they received news that he's got some torn ligaments in a leg, I believe, and he's going to be out for the first month of the season. And I think they're saying about 6 weeks from now. So that's going to be a big blow to the Yankees starting things off. But when you look at their lineup, I mean, every single player can hit home runs. It's gonna be uh kind of reminiscent of the Phillies last year, I think. I've never seen more like 75s on one roster in terms of power numbers. So do they have the pitching that's gonna help them stay in games and win games? Who knows? They made that Strasburg deal that raised a lot of eyebrows. People
Yeah,
wondering if that's a good deal at this point in his career. But like that lineup is just home run heavy. And so they'll have to figure out a way to survive without Arredondo for a little bit. But
I wouldn't
wow.
be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit, 350 home runs this year.
Yeah, it's insane. Um,
Who needs
other,
pitching?
right? I mean, other big AL stories right now. I mean, most of the league's looking kind of how you would expect it to. We don't know really, the Blue Jays, their team, I'm hard time trying to figure. I think they're better than right now they're 6-8. I think they're one of the better teams, but like the MLB Pro Game preseason predictions has them finishing fourth. So maybe the AL East is just another tough division. Maybe I'm just lucky to be in the Central and all the good teams are in the East and West.
Do you want to
Uh,
trade divisions for a year?
yeah, no, thank you.
So, yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about the Royals or A's right now?
Um, no, I think it's I've said everything really. I kind of went over, what our plan was this spring. I think so we're planning to do this Kansas City Athletics show every other Wednesday, or at least record every other Wednesday. So next time we record will be near the end of spring training, and I'll have a lot more to offer
Yeah.
at that point. But right now we're still just in development mode, and like I said earlier, trying to train those backups so we have more depth of positions, more options during the season, and get experience to some of these AAA guys.
It's hard during spring training because you're not playing all your starters, obviously. You're playing a bunch of backup guys and people who are not going to make the team. So
Hmm.
doesn't matter if you win games or lose games in spring training, probably not. But you know, when you're a team that's used to losing and when you win, you still
It
get
feels
excited
good.
about
It
those
feels
things.
good. Yes, it does.
So, did anything in the National League stick out to you? I mean, look at the Mets. They're 11-3 so far
Yeah.
in
Well, the
spring
big
training.
story last week would have been the Padres, who started off what 8-0, but they've come back to earth a little bit and are now 9-5, tied for first in the West with the Diamondbacks. Um, I'm sure nobody is surprised to see them at 9-5. Yeah, the Mets have they're leading. They're the only double digit winners in the entire in all of baseball, and they're 11-3. So obviously they've got to be feeling good about their spring start, even if it's not the real team out there every day.
Right. Yeah. You had an idea when we were throwing this about back and forth as like a mailbox or a mail, ask a question or something.
Oh yeah,
Is there something? I mean, do you want to invite other
we can
owners
invite.
or GMs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we should invite. Well, one, we could always have another person guest on a podcast if anyone's available 4 o'clock Wednesdays Eastern time.
Yeah, Eastern time.
Um,
Don't forget that part.
but yeah. We're open to, like, if anyone has any questions, or wants to do like a mailbag and send us stuff for a mailbag section. That would be fun.
Yeah, and us being both AL GMs, we probably tend to keep on our own side of the on our own side of the map. We don't dive into the NL a whole bunch, but it doesn't mean we can't.
Yeah.
So, you have any closing remarks or anything you want to say as we get ready to sign off for today?
Uh, well, I just want to say that I'm looking forward to doing this, and I think anything where I have to dive in and do a little bit of homework is going to help me have a better feel on the league and hopefully help my team do better. The point of this is not to just go on about how great the Royals are all the time, because like we might be terrible this season. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think it's going to be fun to just keep uh keep diving deeper into the league, and hopefully people enjoy hearing us blabber on about it.
There you go. And how did you enjoy your 30 seconds of fame when you got up on the board at
Oh,
your
that
at
was
work?
great. So yeah, so for those that don't know, I do graphics for the Carolina Hurricanes NHL team, and late last season, as the longest tenured game day employee, I got to do the siren. So every day when the well, actually every period when the team comes out, they have somebody. It's usually like a celebrity, or well, it's celebrities during the Stanley Cup, and during the regular season, it's more like local celebrities, um, or high paying sponsors. So like, the president of Blue Cross Blue Shield or something like that. But yeah, so I got to do that for a game last year, and it was a blast. They normally do the siren down at one of the mezzanine levels, but they brought it up into the control room, the ledge where we can see out and see the ice. So they had to like bring a wireless camera up there to get me to do it right there. But it was a blast. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I bet you did. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. And Canes are struggling right now, but we'll get it turned around. Just gotta, we got a couple new players trying to get acclimated to the team, so we'll see.
Well, just tell them
Should
they have
be.
to be more like the MLB Royals, and
Well,
then
the
we'll
funny
be.
thing is, I've kind of based my philosophy for building this team on how Tom Dundon went about building the Hurricanes. So I've kind of been like following that philosophy, where you just, acquire a few core pieces, and then everyone else is kind of expendable. Stockpile young guys, see what happens. But so I really learned a lot watching him. It's a very different style from when when Ron Francis was running things. So
It's kind of like the A's and Moneyball, right?
yeah, yeah,
Change everything.
yep,
But awesome. Well, it was nice chatting with you, Rob, and we learned a lot more about the Royals and about the A's this time. And if you ever want to appear on our show, just hit one of us up, and we'll try to figure out how to make that work for you. Even if we got to change our time here or there a little bit, we might have some flexibility to be able to do that. But I think that's always fun to have more people on
yeah,
and talking about
definitely.
their teams. So, all right. Well, we will see you in 2 weeks. Our hope is that Brenton and Comey we're going to do something also. So we've been talking with them about doing like every other week. So maybe there's something weekly up for the MLB Pro family to watch something weekly. So with that, I'm Scott Gessford, your Sacramento Athletics GM,
And I'm Rob Chappy, your Kansas City Royals GM.
and we look forward to 2 weeks from now talking more about the Kansas City Athletics. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll chat at you then.